Hey, Shane,
Yes, man.
do you like pie?
All pie is good pie.
Have you seen Hit Man?
No.
No. Well,
Intro might lead you to believe that I had actually
he hasn't
seen
He
Hitman.
just does that. They stole that from him,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, Richard, we'll be in contact. Glenn, we will be in contact.
My lawyers have already sent letters.
Yeah, they will, but they sent them snail mail.
Yeah.
To a carrier pigeon location that will then fly the carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
It's
It'll be a fortnight.
It's more secure.
Yeah.
But
it'll be a fortnight before it arrives at your manor.
Yeah, I love the idea that Richard Linklater lives in a manor. Like it's got a name. There's a plaque.
You know that motherfucker lives in a bungalow.
Yeah. Hey, maybe. Anyway, Hitman, the new Richard Linklater movie from I guess a couple weeks ago at this point.
Yeah.
It came out very short theatrical release, essentially long enough to qualify for award season stuff, I'm sure. But I saw it. I saw it in theaters when it came out. With a pretty decent sized crowd for like a Thursday evening at like 7.
Yeah.
It was a good crowd. I was very happy about that.
Yeah.
Because that movie played really well in a theater. But Netflix hates money.
No.
Anyway, so this is that. You'd watched it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about Hitman. I know you're a big Richard Linklater fan.
Love him.
Yeah.
Love him. I'm calling it now.
Okay.
This is going to be the next The Nice Guys. Of like underrated hidden gem.
Yeah.
Because like they even have a similar tone.
Kind of a quirkier, not even quirky, maybe not the right word, but kind of very specific thing they're doing.
Yeah. With like a performance from an actor that you like hadn't seen really before.
Yeah.
Like or you know like or just a really good performance from an actor who's as slightly out of type from what they normally do.
It normally plays the hyper suave and this time gets to do that but also a bunch of other things.
Yeah. I'm freaking calling it. This is going to be the next The Nice Guys. That being said, I won't be able to wear the shirt that says I saw it in theaters.
This guy saw the Hitman. It doesn't have the same ring.
No, it really doesn't. But this guy saw The Nice Guys in theaters.
And I can definitely see that. You're very right in that there's a very similar kind of vibe going on here.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there will be a call for sequels in the way because this one kind of wraps up. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, I think there's potential for, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would love more The Nice Guys. I do think there's, like, world where you could write more for these characters.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Hey, I would be into that because I think it's a weird, wacky concept that apparently is slightly true.
Yeah.
That was the part that I found super interesting. The trailers were, like, slightly misleading on the tone. I don't know how much of the trailers you watched.
I know I've seen at least one of them, but I don't remember it very well.
The trailers made it seem a little more upbeat than it was.
Interesting.
In a way that is not a problem. In a way that I actually like the tone and the general like texture almost of the actual movie more than the trailer.
Interesting.
But yeah, the trailer just had a little bit more of like an upbeat kind of moving and grooving kind of thing, and this one didn't. But I like this more, I think. I mean, but watching it for the first time, it took me off guard. I was like, oh, I thought this was going to be way poppier, and it's like not at all.
Yeah.
In the best way, you know what I mean? In a way that I think is like absolutely right for the movie.
Yeah.
So Richard Linklater, because I think you've maybe seen more Linklater movies than I have.
I don't know if that's true.
Because I've seen the Before trilogy.
Yeah.
I've seen oh man, I haven't. Okay, so I haven't seen Boyhood. I haven't seen Slacker.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that other Apollo 11 and a half, 10 and a half, which looks incredible. It looks so good, but I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched that other Netflix one he did, Everybody Wants Some or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, Glen Powell. Glen Powell's been in like 3 or 4 of his movies. I didn't realize that until today. I looked it up today, which now makes sense why they co-wrote this together.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Which, like, shout out to Glen Powell.
Yeah.
For, like, it's funny because you can kind of see, like, why I don't know who had the idea. Like I imagine it was Glen Powell, and then he went to Linklater, and they kind of beat it out together. But you can kind of feel that in the way it's like, man, I want to do all these different weird fun characters, and so they made a movie where he could do all these different weird fun characters.
He talked about that in an interview. He's like, I wrote it with Richard Linklater, which can't ask for much of a better writing partner than Richard Linklater. He's like, I did all that, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh shit, I have to do this.
Yeah.
He's like, do I have the chops? Oh no. And you're like, you're Glen Powell, of course you do.
Clearly he does. Like it in a fun way. It feels like an acting exercise turned into a movie.
Yeah.
In like a way that I really love, because I actually think he's like really, really good in it. Like
I've always really liked Glen Powell. Like I saw him in Set It Up. Said it was a really good recent rom-com, which I'd highly recommend. Really like that movie.
He's also really good in this little movie. I don't think anybody saw.
Oh, that indie he did. Yeah.
What is it? Like High Gun. No, Top Gun Maverick. He was also in that, and he was very good in that.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't know if it
didn't make all the money in the world, but no. He's very good.
Your
in that
dad
movie.
Definitely didn't see it.
No. Did you see Top Gun Maverick in a theater?
Yeah.
Did you have the experience of like just a million dads in the theater? Did you notice?
Honestly, like I went and saw it in IMAX, and it was pretty mixed. Like I mean, there were definitely dads in there.
I've never seen so much dad in the most wholesome way, because it was
so much cologne.
It was a lot of adult dads and adult sons who bonded over Top Gun when it came out.
Oh, that's sweet.
Full flight suits, not even just the bomber jackets, flight suits. Yeah. When the lights went down for the trailers to start, that's when the cheering started. I was shocked.
Did you go see it opening weekend?
I saw it opening night.
See, I probably saw it a week or two after it. So I think I was in the crowd of everyone else who was going and seeing it.
I saw it opening night, and it was like one of those moments where like the lights went down and cheering started, and I just kind of went,
y'all haven't done this in a while.
Like, this is awesome, but okay. Great theater experience. Anyway, I think Glen Powell's great in that. That was maybe my first time I was like, oh, fuck, Glen Powell's good. Like,
yeah.
Now, he plays a very specific thing, and I think he is very smart to do his post-Top Gun career, the couple movies he's done, to really differentiate himself from that.
Yeah.
Hitman is great, just to go, look, I'm not going to get pigeonholed into this. And I also love a recent thing. This is me talking about Glen Powell now, because I love Glen Powell.
Hey, lead actor and writer of the movie. I think it's appropriate for us to be talking about him.
He also has kind of talked about recently, he's like, I don't want to do Oscar bait movies, and I don't want to do superhero movies, but I would play Batman. Which I think is incredible, which is kind of a bummer, because I think he'd be a great Hal Jordan or a great Booster Gold.
He would be a good Hal Jordan.
He would be really good. He's a little young for what they're doing, because they kind of announced what they're doing. But anyway, I think he's great. But I love that attitude. He kind of came out of, I think, the like Richard Linklater school of movies, but the Tom Cruise school of movies. I think he's coming out just like, because Twisters is the next movie he's in.
Oh shit, yeah!
And
I forgot about that shit.
I can't wait.
Oh dude, I literally just rewatched Twister.
Yeah. Oh, so did I. Yeah.
Fucking rules.
Yeah.
Oh,
Twister's awesome.
I'm very excited for Twisters.
I think he's gonna kind of usher in one of those like weird like 90s-esque, because this is a very 90s movie.
I would love a 90s revival.
Yeah.
I would love a
more than anything,
a mid-budget drama or a mid-budget action or a mid-budget comedy.
Throw this man in a legal drama movie. Put him in a courtroom.
I would fucking nut so hard for a legal drama.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Now hold up. You're talking about nutting. The segue. Are movies sexy again?
Movies are fucking sexy. Movies are back, boys.
Dude, I literally watching it, I was like jaw dropped a couple times. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Literally. So me and Megan, we've been watching Bridgerton, and we've been watching Queen Charlotte, which I'll talk about Queen Charlotte again at the end. But the romance in Queen Charlotte is so convincing. Megan either has heard the joke or has told me the joke of like, every time they leave set, they're like, "What are we?" Like, like what? That is literally Glen Powell. And Adria.
I can't remember her last name. I'll look it up.
Or Adjorna or Adjorna. Something. It doesn't matter. If I were one of them, I'd be leaving set like, what are we? Like, are we, is this, I mean, because I know you, but like, are we, because holy crap, the freaking,
Arjorna, yeah.
Arjorna. Yorna? Is it? Would it be
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Adria.
She's phenomenal.
She's legitimate. I've seen her in a couple other things, but I think I've seen her. Maybe.
Andor. She's in Andor.
She's in Andor. She's in Morbius. She's in
Morbius.
Yeah, she's in a bunch of. Okay, I've seen her in more movies than I thought I had. This is the first time I've seen her and been like, oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Like
the chemistry between the two of them is electric.
And this is a byproduct of that other movie being as big as it was, but he's also in Anyone But You, Glen Powell, and the like cultural zeitgeist around him and Sydney Sweeney after that movie.
Yeah.
They had good chemistry in that movie. They were a good on-screen pair. This one is just a different thing.
Yeah.
It's just, and like I wish that this was where the cultural thing went, where it's like, okay, now are you two dating? Because nobody's done it. But
yeah,
that plays into the fact that this is an underrated movie for
Yeah. I don't understand what Netflix is doing. I don't know what they're getting at with this shit. Because it was like the last time they did this was for like Glass Onion, and it was like sold out for like the 2 weeks. Out.
Glass Onion, I think, was tracking to be like a $200 or $300 million movie based on its initial stretch. So like it would have tracked and done that kind of money. Which Netflix, I don't know if you know this, but people also would have watched it on your service afterwards.
I went and saw it in the theaters, and I have also watched it on Netflix since
multiple
then.
times.
Yeah, literally.
Like I've watched
times.
Glass Onion like 4 times. I saw it in theaters and was immediately like, okay, I got to watch that again.
I have watched it on Netflix. Now, I canceled my Well, I didn't cancel my Netflix. I got kicked off my parents' Netflix, and then Megan bullied us into getting the extra account, which I did not want to do, but we did.
Hey, man. Yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
There's Glass Onion.
Again,
there's
my philosophy with a lot of the streaming services is you just wait 6 months and 6 months to a year, and once a year, whenever the big thing comes out, you get it, you binge it for a month or 2, and then you cancel your subscription.
Yeah, I agree. Once we get through, we've gotten through Bridgerton season 3. Once we finish Queen Charlotte and a couple other things, kill her.
And in 2 years, when Stranger Things 5 inevitably comes out, plus a lot of those actors that aren't doing that are in other better things now. Because I heard A Quiet Place Day 1 is actually really fucking good.
Yeah,
which shocked me. I did not like the trailers.
Yeah.
I was like, Ethan put it the best. Friend of the podcast, Ethan put it the best. He was like, I wish that whole movie was like the New York scene when they first arrive. He's like, I wish that was the entire movie.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes of that movie.
Right.
But apparently the rest of the movie is also really good.
Hey, man.
Directed by the guy who made Pig, the Nicolas Cage movie, which is an excellent movie. So anyway, I'm going to go see that this week because I'm curious. But anyway, back to Netflix and all that stuff. But dude, if this had come out in the 90s, it would have maybe been the biggest movie that year.
Yeah.
I'm like a little convinced of that.
Yeah.
Because you go back and look at the biggest movies of the 90s, and you'd be shocked at how little they seem in comparison to now.
Yeah.
Like, they did better than blockbusters.
Yes.
We need to get back to that.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
desperately. Because Bike Riders,
yeah,
it's gonna have been in theaters for, I think, 20 days before it's available on digital. It's like, what's the point of doing the theater thing then?
Yeah.
Like, that's why they don't go to the movies. Terrible. Annoying.
Yeah.
Like, at least I'll give Netflix that they, like, that's their model, and they at least had a 2-week run of this.
Yeah.
And then they put it on Netflix. Like, at least I'll give them that. Not just like, it's out of theaters now, and we're gonna.
Who? What production? Like who distributed it?
Bike Riders?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay. Because it makes sense for Netflix because they're Netflix. But if you're Paramount, if you're, you know what I mean?
Oh, it was a studio,
right?
Because look, this is also something that shocked me. When Hitman was doing the festival circuit, it could not find a buyer. Nobody would touch it. So it's not a Netflix original movie. It was a movie bought by Netflix. I also think it's a pretty important distinction.
Yeah.
The annoying thing about that is I watched the movie and I was like, why the fuck wouldn't a studio buy this?
I don't know.
There's no way it would have been that expensive, and I guarantee you could have made $50 or $60 million.
That movie was so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, which is something that I love. Like, it doesn't feel cheap, but like just knowing how the industry works, it's like there's no action at all.
I was gonna say, there's like the most is a couple of, I'm sure, little gun things, but even then, I'm sure that was CGI. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they weren't even shooting blanks. You know, like there's the scene at the beginning where he's shooting the target.
Oh yeah, but it's like target. You're it. You know what I mean?
There's no way it's a blank. You know what I mean?
That is so simple. You know what I mean? Like it's
when the most memorable scene in your movie is a guy showing her his phone with text on it and then doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like
when that's like the climax
and it's thrilling.
Yeah.
You're like, man, this is what movies are all about.
It really is just people in different rooms talking.
Yeah.
And damn it, it's freaking good.
Yeah.
I
guarantee the most expensive scene in this entire movie was probably that one scene in the club. Solely because you had to have a lot of extras and that's really it. Like
legit. I don't think you're wrong in that at all.
The fact that this could not get a buyer is shocking to me. Like,
I mean, this is definitely like 35 million. Like,
I'll try to find it right now.
It's not 50. Like, it's not 50.
No.
Like, freaking Joker cost $50 million.
See, my guess is because it wasn't made by a studio, it was made to be sold to a studio.
Right.
It could even be lower than 35.
Yeah, I don't know why a studio wouldn't take a chance on a.
Okay, so there's no budget reported through IMDb, and they use Box Office Mojo.
Okay.
But its gross worldwide was $3 million.
God, woof.
Just so when Breck and I saw it, literally it was at like 100,000. I looked at her and I went, "You do realize that when they saw our $30 ping up, they cheered." We had a notable impact on that.
8.8.
There we go.
8.8 million.
Yeah.
Which
and that seems about right. You know what I mean?
Like, you couldn't spend 15 million on this? Like, crazy to me. There's no world if you put any actual marketing budget behind it.
And I really wonder if it got bought by Netflix before, and I think it did before Anyone But You came out, and you realize that Glen Powell can be a juggernaut. You know what I mean? Like, I really wonder if it was that. But that being said, it had a 2-week run.
Yeah.
Oh, well, also Alamo was the only one really playing it.
Yeah.
So I guess that would limit it. I'm sure there's a lot of regions that did not have the option to see Hitman in theaters.
Yeah. Like legitimately, it almost feels like the theatrical run was part of contract negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Like Richard Linklater's like, I am not letting this not play in a freaking theater. That very much feels like Richard Linklater's MO. And especially if it like basically only played at Alamo, makes even more sense to me.
And here's another, this is just not even a semi-recent trend. This is just a trend recent, like of the past probably 5-6 years.
Yeah.
We're seeing big directors unable to make movies they want to make.
Yeah.
And so they're just going, fuck it, I'll make it and try to sell it at a festival. Like, we have returned to the 90s.
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan is doing it with The Life of Chuck, which is not a horror movie and has one of the craziest casts for an independent film ever.
Yeah.
I guarantee that movie has a budget of like $5 million.
Yeah.
That's just all those people going, I'll work for rate. I just want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe you're paying Tom Hiddleston a little bit more so he can work it into a schedule or whatever.
Basically the Wes Anderson model.
Yes.
I'm just like, no,
precisely.
I just want to work with this guy. Like,
precisely.
Yeah.
But you see Francis Ford Coppola investing millions of dollars of his own money. You see Kevin Costner doing the same thing. Like, look, for all the faults that I'm sure Horizon has, I have heard that at the very least, it is a giant theatrical experience that is really well shot and pretty well acted.
Yeah.
I want that movie to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, I want his gamble to be successful in the same way that, like, I'm glad Hitman is inevitably a net success for Richard Linklater and Glen Powell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't make that much money at the box office, but I'm sure it sold pretty decent at Netflix, and it's done well on Netflix. Like, it's generated conversation.
Yeah.
And I think it stands a chance at getting at least a screenplay nod or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this recent trend of these, like, big-time major directors just going, I just want to make a movie and not selling it first and just finding a way to get the money and then making it.
Yeah.
I really like, because I think that's going to be really good for the film industry.
Yeah.
Like, if inevitably any of these can be successful.
Yeah.
Because Megalopolis is going to be one of the biggest flops ever, I think. And Horizon is also going to be a
so
massive
excited
flop.
for that.
I am too, like, deeply excited for it. Apparently there's a live section, which isn't fascinating, but oh yeah, Adam Driver's like looking at the screen, and all of a sudden he looks over, and at Cannes they had a guy walk up and talk into a mic at the. I have no idea how that's going to work at other theaters, but
fascinating.
Yeah,
okay.
So I have no idea. But the same thing with Horizon. Horizon is another dad cinema movie that's going to absolutely bomb. But man, we need these directors to keep doing this.
Yeah.
and doing it on both scales, doing it on a Megalopolis and a Horizon, and doing it on a Life of Chuck and Hitman scale. You know what I mean?
Like it really, like I think, like from that perspective, like the Hitman side of the world, where it's like like it is a movie of it is people in rooms talking, so it's made for cheap.
Yeah.
But it's like a good movie with well acted, well shot.
Yeah.
Like an interesting premise that again, like. Yeah, it's not going to be a super giant mega hit, but it'll be profitable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, if you make it literally, if a movie is $8 million and it's got a A-lister in it, it's gonna make its money back.
Yeah.
Like there's no like if you put any like even just a small marketing budget behind it, it'll make its money back.
I mean, all you have to do really is be creative in your marketing.
Yeah.
Smile is a great model for that. Smile had really interesting, weird marketing and ended up being a very big success.
Yeah.
Big enough to essentially instantaneously greenlight a sequel.
Yeah.
For a movie that doesn't set up a sequel. You know what I mean? Like the end of that movie does not set up a sequel, but they're like, oh God, we have to do this. Like it's made, whatever. But other recent ones, what are the other, there's another one I'm trying to think of. They had like really good marketing. It'll come to me in 20 minutes.
My brain no worky.
Dune had good marketing, but Dune had pretty standard marketing. I mean, look, Deadpool and Wolverine is having interesting enough marketing, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like,
but it's clear that
the Apes movies. The Apes movies had really good. Oh, and Longlegs is having really good marketing right now, and incredible buzz from early screens. Like
incredible.
Like that's the thing. People have been questioning why they've done so many screenings leading up to it, and it's like, well, because they know if it's not a success in the weekend, word of mouth won't matter, so they're getting word of mouth now. You know what I mean? Before it comes out, they're gonna try to generate this buzz around it. And Apes did that event where they had like people on the beach riding horses in full prosthetic makeup. It's like they're just making these an event. They're making them cultural. And Apes has done pretty well, and it's a really good movie. But
I feel like with a movie like Hitman, you could do something weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's some.
You can do some pop up shit. You know what I mean?
100%,
like they did for El Camino, where like Aaron Paul just went around Albuquerque, like dropping off hints and tweeting, and people would go find the tickets or whatever. It's like, do some shit like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, Hitman feels like at a certain point in cinematic time, it would have been the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm bummed that we're not there right now, because I want that back so bad. Like,
but you know what? That's what this podcast is for.
That's what this podcast is for.
Is for us to talk about these movies that deserved better.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, this is again not to say that this movie is not doing well. I think it has struck a chord with the people who watch it, and I think it's had really good word of mouth. Like I text like 5 or 6 people, like, you have to watch this when it comes out. It's so good.
There's one person, one mutual friend of ours, who gave it a 1.5, and I'm like, you didn't watch this movie.
Who, Haley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong with you?
She's got some taste sometimes. I'm like, whoa.
Dude, crazy. 1.5. This movie is so much better than 1.5.
If you give it anything below a 3, I'm like, I don't get it. And I would say hard 3.5 is where I'm like, I would question you if you gave it a 3, but 3.5 is where I was like, yeah, I can see.
The movie's a solid 4.
The movie's, for me, it's a solid 4.
Like, you knock off half a point for the fact that this movie forgets that it has voiceover about halfway through the movie. That is the one thing I hate about voiceover in movies, is they always forget that they have voiceover.
I was gonna ask you how you felt about the voiceover.
It doesn't bother me if they fucking commit to it and then they forget about it halfway through the movie.
It's every
single time.
It's a very common thing. I'll be honest, I didn't mind that as much, because when it comes back, it works again. You know what I mean? Like, trying to think of other examples of really good voice. Oh, I just watched a movie. I don't know if you ever heard of this. I hadn't heard of it. Crazy cast from the 90s called Fallen. Denzel Washington, John Goodman,
yes.
Kiefer.
Is that the one with the ghost or whatever?
No, it's like the demon that changed bodies through touch.
Yeah, I remember watching that movie when I was probably like 14 and going, this movie fucking rules.
It wants to be 7 more than anything on Twitter.
Yeah. So time is on my side.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good
Dude,
shit.
no, there's a lot in that movie that's really... Now, it's this is weird. The day Kiefer Sutherland died, which that's tragic and so sad. He's amazing. I stumble upon this movie on an airplane.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Denzel Washington seems like a weird cult thriller thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So I click play, and all of a sudden Kiefer Sutherland's in it. And I'm like, whoa. Like, had never heard of Fallen ever, and I'm a Denzel Washington fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I literally haven't like, because I've thought about it since then,
Yeah.
and I've been like, what was that movie? And I couldn't remember it. Like I couldn't remember the name.
in
or
all
anything.
honesty, if it was, I think that movie would be remembered and talked about a lot if it was 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
And if it was shot a little better.
Yeah.
Like the cinematography is not bad. It's just there's not a lot of texture to it. It's lacking some like grime that a movie like this really needed.
I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I don't exactly remember the look, but like, man, it's such a cool premise. Though.
It's an incredible premise. And the voiceover in that is pretty interesting and does stay decently consistent throughout.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a movie like freaking Shawshank.
Yeah.
Like it's there the whole time, and
it
it's
is layered
great the
in
entire time. Like, then there's just movies like this where it's like it just kind of forgets that it's that it actually should be there.
The voiceover took me a minute to get used to.
Yeah,
like when it started, I was like, "Oh, it's a voiceover. Do I like?" But then it works because it's Richard Linklater, and it's good dialogue and it's fun. And
the only other thing is like, I guess you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah, it's like a little tropey. Yeah,
but like. It does feel almost kind of throwbacky to that 90s. You know?
And they use it for the occasional joke. You know what I mean? Like when he's in the van and they're like, "You're up," which is the one part of the movie that you really have to suspend your disbelief on, that they would send that guy in, right?
And that he would not be instantly hot. Like,
like
that this very hot man, even looking like a dork, is still not hot.
It's the trope in movies where you put glasses on the obviously beautiful woman, and they just Glen Powelled it.
They really tried with the jorts and the hair and the weird hair, and like they really tried to make him look not hot, but I don't know.
No, I think he does a great job of selling the like lack of confidence, and his performance sells it really well.
I agree with that.
He has his voice where he's like clearly a good teacher, but he's a dork. You know what I mean? Like that's the part of it that works. But when they're like, I don't know, kind of forgettable face.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he's not. He's Glen Powell. No, he's not.
Not forgettable.
But that's the one part you really have to go, there's no way.
Yeah.
Get past that. Don't be a dad in this moment. Be a normal person who can get past that. And then the movie's kind of off the races. But it's that scene when he's in the van and he's just like, I am going to die.
Yeah.
You could have had him say that out loud, but it's almost funnier that it's voiceover.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but it is. So anyway, the voiceover ended up working for me, but I do agree. It does fall into a couple of tropes of having voiceover.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt it ultimately.
Really like the like kind of supporting cast. Like other than Retta, I had never seen any of these people. Also, shout out Retta.
Yeah.
We love you, Retta.
Yes.
I want to see more Retta.
Absolutely to that.
Like she's had some other shows and stuff. Like
I think she was a lead on a show that went a season or two after Parks and Rec.
I love her, and I would love to see her do more stuff. But like all of the supporting cast, like almost none of them I had really seen.
My Walking Dead alum as the essentially the antagonist of the movie.
Really?
He's the I don't know how far in The Walking Dead yet. Did you get to the Negan stuff?
No, I did not.
Okay, he's
I got to right before they went to Terminus or whatever.
Okay, so
I didn't actually. Even
you were
watch
like a season or two out
yeah.
from when he came in. He's Walking Dead, and then he went to Fear the Walking Dead.
Okay.
Dwight from that show, the guy with the burn on his face who steals the crossbow.
Oh shit!
Very, very good actor, and I've never seen him in anything other than The Walking Dead. So when he popped up, I was like, "It's Dwight! No way!" Which was really fun. But yeah, no, I agree. I hadn't really seen any of these other people much, other than the supporting group.
Yeah,
and the supporting group's great.
Yeah,
like my one thing is I wish they went a little more into because the message of this movie is a bit weird, where you're like, if you change everything about yourself, people will like you.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know about that, because there's the scene when he's listening to him on the phone and they're like, I wouldn't touch Gary, whatever they're you know what I mean, but Ron, it's like I wish they had him be a little bit more hurt by that.
Yeah,
like that's the one thing for me, like story character thing that didn't entirely work for me.
And like I think they give that they touch on that at the end of like finding a happy middle ground between Ron and Gary, and like he's still clearly still Gary at the end because he's talking about these birds and shit with his daughter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like.
And he's still teaching, and he's still, it's.
I think there's like an attempt at that.
Yes,
it's just like I agree. I think it could have maybe been. I think there probably could have, should have, would have been a little bit more like you don't have to change everything about yourself, but like if you are unhappy, you know what I mean? Like, you are capable of embodying the confidence that you should have. You know? Like, if you are this good, cool, attractive person on the inside, if you embody that, you can be that. And like that is a good message, but I do think there is a reading of it that's like, well, if you just change everything about yourself, people will like you. And like that isn't great. But at the same time, like this isn't a movie for like
kids. It's you know it's very much a movie about like a guy going through a thing. You know what I mean? Which is, trust me, it's not like I'm not harping on it in that way. It's just there's the one part where I was like, I wish we went into that like a little bit.
Right.
Like just a little bit.
It could have been dealt with just ever so slightly better. Yeah. Like even just a couple little line changes.
Yes.
And that would have been enough. But like they clearly like put an attempt in. It just maybe not have fully worked for you.
And you know what? I still love this movie. Yeah. That's one of those issues where it's just kind of superficial to the overall feeling I have watching it.
That's a half point taken off, and then the other half point is the voiceover. So it's like this movie's a full 4 out of 5.
Yes,
this movie's a full 4 out of 5.
I a buddy of mine from college, he like adores it. Yeah. And the funny thing is, watching it, I went, I bet he's gonna love this movie. Like it's so specific to a certain type of people. But give it a chance. You know what I mean? I think this is a movie that can be for everybody because it's not pretentious.
Watch
it
with people too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like this movie deserves.
It's funny, but not like laugh out loud funny.
Me and Megan were laughing.
Oh no, I was laughing, but it's not like the whole time you're not like. You're not crying because you're laughing. It's just got a really smart wit to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then me and Megan, literally every time there was sexy moments, me and her were both like, "Holy shit!" Like out loud.
Well, the other one that's become a little bit of a verbal tick is I can't remember the exact line. I haven't said it that much in the last week or two, but he's when he's like, "This whole Hitman thing's like a side gig." That, and then who the fuck is Gary? That whole scene when he immediately changes is the best acting in Glen Powell's career, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like when he's like, "I've never killed anyone." Yeah. He's like, "What?"
Damn, this movie's good,
guys.
This movie's good, guys.
Again, it falls into that category of like, are they going to get away with it? Is the superficial tension, but the real tension is, are they going to kiss again?
Are they
like, you know what I mean?
Are they going to bone again?
And I would
that.
love
to watch it.
That is the epitome of The Fall Guy, which is another movie that bombed and should have been a really big success because it is so much fun. But yeah, the tension of that, the third act tension of that movie is they have to do a thing. But the real tension is, are they going to kiss? Like, come on. We've had a great year for actors and chemistry.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Glen Powell, Adria. I already forgot. Arjona, yeah.
It feels like it should be a soft J.
Yeah,
it feels like it should be a y, as opposed to a j. Or maybe it's a Jorna.
Come on the pod and tell us.
Adria, come on.
Come on.
We're probably mispronounced. It's maybe Audrey. Who freaking knows? You're great.
Yes.
You're beautiful.
Yes.
Moses. Okay.
The Apes movies had characters with great chemistry, not even in romantic ways, but just like great chemistry. Timmy and Zendaya, like, and Dune. Like, we've had a really good year for like just Timmy.
Just Timmy. Timothy.
Timmy T.
Good old TT, as we call him.
Those two had great chemistry. It's just been a really good year for like actors and on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
I really have been impressed with it in a very 90s way. Again, like, anyway.
How was Glen Powell and Sydney Sweeney? Is it the same level or not quite?
Not the same level, but I do think they have great on-screen, like they definitely work well together.
I need to watch that one.
It's okay. It's like I had a ton of fun at the theater, but it's not like I haven't bought it on Blu-ray. I would buy it for like $5. Like if on a sale, I would pick it up because it is one that I would watch again.
Got it.
That also has a really fun supporting cast. Like it's another like good kind of ensemble-y thing.
I know literally nothing about that movie.
It is. It's a Shakespeare adaptation.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. I didn't know that at all.
How did you think of visuals? Like, what did you think of it visually?
I liked it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's nothing flashy, but it also doesn't have to be.
There's a few scenes that I think look like really good. And then the rest of it I think looks good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nothing about it like super jumped out at me, but then also literally nothing took me out. Like,
yeah.
Like there were a few moments I was like, damn, that looked good as hell.
Yeah.
Like specifically the scene of them at the the ice cream joint for some reason. It was like all that.
I just think that location looked perfect
that
too.
Magenta, like neon above them. Like I had a lot of shape and color in a way that I really liked.
I couldn't agree more. The two other things. I love the teacher aspect of this movie.
Yeah,
I loved those scenes like so much. You know what I mean? Like the setup of. This is the guy who drives a Civic, and then he uses that later to play into the person. It's like really smart setup and payoff there. But like, I love this idea of a guy who's teaching and does this on the side. Like, I just because sometimes you could feel like those scenes could be this like expository whatever.
Yeah.
But they find a way to make them really charming and really fun and really charactery.
Yeah.
Super, super happy with all of those things.
The courtroom stuff really worked for me too.
Yes,
I thought that was really fun and weird. Like I thought, like I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. I liked that. Also, one question: is this a thing? Do people contract like this for are there subcontractors like this for?
I could believe in an IT way. Yes.
Yeah.
I could believe sitting in the van.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's no world they'd put that dude in that scenario. Like, this is not a point against the movie. This is just a bit more than anything.
It was like I was saying, there's no way they would send that guy in that room.
Right. No world where they'd send that guy in that room. But I'm glad they did, because if they didn't, this movie wouldn't exist.
Because they don't really explain it, because clearly he carries a gun.
Yeah.
Clearly he's some obligatory training.
Yeah.
And he's like not a very good shot, which is another great payoff.
Such a good payoff.
Which is such a good payoff. He's like, this is my usual distance.
Yeah. No, that's for weekenders and whatever. And bah, bah, bah.
Yeah. New kink unlocked is Glen Powell staring into my eyes while firing a gun at a target at close range.
No
Oof.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about just briefly, which is the best Glen Powell persona? Which one do you like the most? Which one's the most entertaining?
The one that had the biggest effect on me was the creepy redhead British. Like, that one was like, ugh, this guy is a serial killer.
The slight Tilda Swinton.
It is Tilda Swinton. Oh God, yeah, that one I think had the biggest effect on me. But the one, the one I liked the best was Ron, man.
Oh, Ron, yeah.
Ron fucks, dude. Like,
but I just love he's like, once we do this, you're like, whoa.
That's a good one too. They're all good.
Yeah.
The super crazy, as Americans, we got to take it back into our own hands. I believe in, vigilante justice. Like that one, great. Like, they're all really good. They're all really funny.
And I think all of the other thing that they put a lot of care into, you're talking about supporting guests, are the people contracting hitmen.
So good.
All of them are like really specific, and you're like, yeah, you would be the type of person.
They're all so specific. That is such a good way of putting it. Like, they're all very specific. Like, they aren't just like...
The kid is different from the redneck dude, is different from the lady that wants to kill her husband, is different from the rich lady who wants to kill her. It's like really good, kind of just making everyone's one or two scenes really hit and be memorable.
Yes.
Which is a thing they talk about a lot in like mob movies and like any kind of gangster or organized crime thing, is like make your henchmen really memorable. Yeah. Which is like an art that Batman has perfected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Goon.
The freaking Rogues Gallery. You know what I mean?
Harley Quinn was a one-off character written for an episode of an animated TV series, and now she's one of the most popular characters ever created for a superhero thing.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Just
like
Batman. Just like superhero shit.
Yeah. Like it's make your little characters memorable. Like
make little characters memorable again.
Yes.
Put that on a red hat, bitch.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that's definitely, those are some of the things I've really thought. Ron is the best of the personas in terms of like, that's my hitman. You know what I mean? But I do love some of the wilder ones. Like when it's the turn when he's in the room with the kid and he's just got scars on his face.
Because it's the video game.
It's the video. Yes. Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like he's the dude that he would see in the video game.
I'm a little bit. I wish they had done the like skinny black tie and the suit. Like I wish there was one of those.
There was the American Psycho.
Oh
like,
yes, there was the American
so
Psycho.
Good.
Yeah,
guys, this movie's good.
This movie's
if
awesome.
you haven't seen it, go watch it. Which it would be wild for you to listen this far and not haven't seen it.
Yeah,
go watch it.
Go watch it
again.
man.
If you've seen it, go watch it.
Legitimately, it's a great. I rewatched it. It's a really good rewatch.
I will rewatch this again. Like this does feel like this would be a good comfort movie.
Yeah,
I just throw it on and have a good time kind of movie.
Richard Linklater has a great relationship with Criterion, so I'm hoping potentially to get
Dude.
it. And Netflix has a deal with them, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
potentially we get this one on Criterion.
Watch it again if you want to laugh and feel a little horny, just like a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little.
In a safe, fun environment.
Yeah.
They sit in a bathtub together and talk about murder.
In a safe for work capacity.
Yeah.
Is this movie PG-13?
No, this is rated R.
Really?
There's F-bombs and stuff.
Oh. It feels like this movie could easily be PG-13.
Yeah.
Because
there's
no nudity. There's no like hardcore.
Yeah, it's rated R just for language.
Oh, that's so funny.
Um,
Man, I watched a movie very recently where I was like, it was Air. I showed Megan Air. I was like, there's no reason this movie needed to be R. This movie would have been it actively hurt this movie being R rated. And I'm usually not that guy where I'm like, the movie needs to be.
But that was a movie that I think a lot of young people might have been really interested in.
Yeah, it really, I think, would have benefited from having the ability for teenagers to go see it.
And who knows, maybe a lot of those people were like famous for their profanity or something, but the movie's not like that profane.
No, it's like
there's
just a bunch of F-bombs for kind of no reason other than the fact that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon say the fuck word a lot.
Yeah.
You
And
know
it's
what I
like,
mean?
by the way, you can get away with like 3. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you use them right,
Yeah.
you can get away with 3. If you still want them, like
that movie, like this movie is slightly different. I don't feel as strongly about it for this one, but it's like, for Air, like that movie super did not need to be.
no.
R-rated.
And Air had a like full theatrical run. You know what I mean? Whereas this is just it's going to
and
streaming anyway.
it really needed to do better.
Yeah.
Like that movie needed that.
I agree with that. I do think Air being rated R is a weird because it's just Moneyball, and Moneyball is not hurt by its PG-13 rating in any way.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
No, that's a good point.
because like Actors Equity, like the
company,
that company, they have such a weird and interesting model. Like that should have been a hit. Like do the thing to make it the hit. Like
and their model being just like a very brief like it's we're gonna pay you less upfront.
Yeah.
We're going to put more money on the screen so you can do more with your specific job to make the movie better.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of gets more back end points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if the movie does well, you do well. This is for the love of the game. You know what I mean? Like I love that concept. And I really want them to do like one movie every 3 years. You know what I mean? Like just keep churning them out. Yeah. And I want that model to be viable.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like, again, like there's the like, studio notes like this has to be as marketable and profitable as possible, so we're going to water everything down to be as general as possible.
Yeah,
that's the bad version of this, but there is a world where it's like you could
have if you took out the F-bombs, you're good.
It really did not need them.
It's not like
it's not integral to the plot. You know what I mean? Like Deadpool or something like that. It's like that needs
it's the character.
That's the character. Like that needs that. Freaking Air does not.
And man, you know what you can do with the PG-13? I just watched the movie, which I didn't care for that much, but Boogeyman. Do you remember the trailers and stuff for that?
Vaguely.
With the ball rolling under the bed. I didn't care for it. That movie has a monster literally on screen rip a woman in half, and you kind of see it. Yeah. It has a monster shoving things down a person's throat, and like way more.
What things?
Nope, not in this case. I will tell you that. It is. You can do a lot with a PG-13 rating if you get creative.
Yeah.
And that's for that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is Air. I fully agree. Now, Hitman, I'm less. I care less.
This movie is much more adult in its themes and stuff.
Yes.
Where it's like Air's like about men being good at their jobs.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't need that as much as like this is about a dude. Like this is about sex and violence and hitmen and you know what I mean. Like this has a more adult tone.
There's more. Yeah, exactly. I think the sex is really what pushes it.
Yeah.
And
it's even not even. It's like not even like it's not. It's very safe for work sex scenes.
But I also don't know if that would have pushed it to PG-13 today. You know what I mean? Like if today it's changed a little bit where they're like back to being a little more strict on it. Yeah, who knows? But I agree with you. I think there's a world in which this being PG-13 doesn't hurt it, but also I'm fine with it being rated R. Yeah. In a way that I do wish Air was PG-13.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that would have changed it. Now there is this element like I could see the conversation going. They're writing it. They're like, look, these sex scenes, we want to make them risque or whatever. You know what I mean? So let's just go ahead and have the F-bombs and go ahead and have the whatever else we want.
I mean, like, and that's another like turn away from that part, or whatever, to segue off of that, I really appreciate how the sex scenes are handled, because they're not graphic at all, but god damn it, they're hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this movie like super threads the needle of like, you know what I mean? It's not like I see a bunch of skin.
Yeah.
I don't think we see a single like
there's no
naughty bits. There's no underwear bits.
It's just like backs and stuff.
It's just
you know what I mean?
like everything is covered the entire time, and yet the sex scenes are super hot.
Yeah.
Like this, I think this movie like deserves some credit for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't feel male gazy. It doesn't feel,
or like not more than it needs to. It's not gawking. It's not gross. It's like they're just hot. It's sexy. There's I think a fine line between like respecting women and and also acknowledging the fact that women like sex too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this movie like really handles that stuff well in a way that's like refreshing for an action comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a thriller comedy.
Yeah.
Like shout out to
I agree. Good work.
Richard Linklater and any intimacy coordinators they had, like shout out. Like and again, super hot, and while also feeling really natural and real, and like it's clearly like a safe working environment for everybody involved in those scenes, and also still really engaging and hot. You know, shout out like that. I think that deserves some praise.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, good job.
Good fucking movie.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have anything else on it.
I don't think so either. B segment.
B segment.
Okay, you might need a surface because we've got paper again.
Oh God, my worst enemy.
So Glen Powell is an actor, and he wrote this movie. There have been several other movies written by famous actors. I'm going to give you a list of movies and a list of actors, and I'm going to let you pair them up
with who wrote what.
With who wrote what.
Okay.
Some of these will be easier than others. So those are the movies. And these are the actors.
Oh God.
There are like 12. So
okay.
it might be in terms of spacing, you might need to.
Okay. I'll try to pair them up. Okay. Sense and Sensibility, Sling Blade, Young Frankenstein, Annie Hall, Good Will Hunting, That Thing You Do, High Fidelity, Good Night and Good Luck. I haven't even seen that. Strays as in the one that came out recently?
No, it came out, I think, in the early 2000s or late 90s.
The Gift, Celeste and Jess Forever?
Yeah.
I don't know what that movie is.
Yeah.
Shit.
Some of these are like small.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Okay.
Yeah.
So several of these I know. Vin Diesel, Emma Thompson, Gene Wilder has to be Young Frankenstein. I'm going to I'll pair them and sit them over here.
Yeah.
Okay. I already feel like I got that wrong based off that smirk. Oh no.
There's some of these are easy. Like there's
okay. Jason Segel I know wrote.
There's no tricks in here. Some of them are movies you just don't know. That's the trick.
Jason Segel, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I know that one. Because I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I like that movie a lot.
I have not seen that movie in its entirety.
The Gift I know was Joel Edgerton. I know. I'm questioning that because it's Joel Edgerton. I'm going with it. Oh, Tom Hanks. Billy Bob Thornton was Sling Blade.
What a weird, right?
What? I've never seen Sling Blade, so I only know it by like reputation. But no, it's a weird. George Clooney. Rashida Jones wrote a movie?
Yeah.
Woody Allen. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck I also know. Okay.
Matt Damon and
Annie Hall.
Yeah, Matt Damon wrote Annie Hall.
Good Will Hunting and Ben Affleck. Is that one? Okay? That Thing You Do is Tom Hanks. Have you seen that?
Nope.
I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've heard people really like it. High Fidelity, I believe John Cusack wrote, which High Fidelity is a pretty fun movie. He played kind of the peak of him playing kind of a shitty dude.
Yeah.
In the best way.
He's just good at that. Like he's just good at that, like smarmy but charismatic. Like that's definitely his type. Right.
I am at a loss for the rest. Good Night and Good Luck.
I'm honestly surprised you don't know that one.
I don't know that I've ever heard of it. I don't know that I know what that movie is.
Okay, yeah. That one's
Do I have the right one? Yeah, okay, 4 and 4. Rashida Jones, I also didn't know ever wrote a movie.
I'll tell you this: all of the movies and people that you have left are correct. Like they all match up with what you have left. So
okay, Sense and Sensibility, Good Night, Good Luck, Strays. Oh man. Oh, I'm going wild guess Emma Thompson and Strays because again I don't know what that movie is. I'm guessing I got that one wrong. Over there. Sense and Sensibility. I like the idea that George Clooney wrote that, but
yeah.
No, I'm going fuck it, George Clooney. If that one's Vin Diesel, I'm gonna scream. Rashida Jones for Celeste and Jess Forever, and then Vin Diesel for Good Night, Good Luck.
Okay, very very close.
Okay,
you got Rashida Jones, the Celeste, and Jesse Forever.
Okay. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Good Night and Good Luck is George Clooney.
Okay. What is that movie?
It's I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it is a. I believe it all takes place at I think it might have to do with like the Russian missile crisis or something.
Fascinating.
But it's like it is radio hosts or like TV hosts on air. It's all in black and white. Like it looks really interesting.
That seems cool.
Yeah. It looks really really interesting. Vin Diesel is Strays, and Emma Thompson is Sense and Sensibility.
Damn.
Yeah. So just to go down the list, Good Will Hunting is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, famously. Annie Hall is Woody Allen, obviously. Young Frankenstein is Gene Wilder. I didn't know Gene Wilder was a co-writer on it. It's Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder. I did not know that. Sling Blade and Billy Bob Thornton, Sense and Sensibility, Emma Thompson. Like honestly, somewhat like famous. I honestly
probably should have known that one.
I didn't know she wrote that, but like it makes sense that she did.
Yeah.
Good Night and Good Luck, George Clooney, along with Grant Heslov. I don't know who that is. High Fidelity is John Cusack, along with several other writers, or 3 other writers specifically. That Thing You Do is Tom Hanks, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Jason Segel, Celeste and Jesse Forever, Rashida Jones, The Gift, Joel Edgerton, and Strays, Vin Diesel. Now, the other part of this is, if you'd like to try, putting them in order from highest to lowest in terms of rating on IMDb. Or not IMDb, a Letterboxd. Would you like to try? Or would you just like me to tell you because it's interesting?
I would like you to tell me because there's no fucking way I'll get.
It is in the order I just described. So Good Will Hunting has a 4.3. Annie Hall's 4. A Young Frankenstein is 4, which feels
we gotta watch that soon. I've never seen it and I've had a hankering to watch it.
Yeah, we'll watch it very soon. It's one of my absolute favorite comedies of all time. Sling Blade with 3.9, Sense and Sensibility with 3.8, Good Night and Good Luck 3.7, High Fidelity 3.6, That Thing You Do 3.6, Forgetting Sarah Marshall 3.3, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Celeste and Jesse Forever, The Gift all with 3.3, and Strays with 3.1.
Okay.
So yeah, like Vin Diesel actually, like, the reason we know him as an actor is because he wrote and directed a short film and then wrote and directed Strays. Like, and he acted in it as well. Like
wild.
Yeah, like
it's insane.
Yeah. That is the reason Vin Diesel is an actor that we know about, is because of the work that he did as that guy right there, the big bald man himself. The reason that we know him as an actor is because he was like, no, I'm making a movie so I can become famous.
I mean, that's the Stallone model. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like, 100%. I mean, like, I thought about putting Rocky in here, but I was like,
you
that's
could
be too fucking
The funny
obvious.
thing is you could have put some other weird movie because he's written a lot of movies.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's true. But it's like, I do think that's cool, like how many of these actors have written like really good movies, and then how some of them have written not very great movies. I'm honestly surprised. Yeah, apparently, I don't know anything about That Thing You Do. 3.6 is not like the highest rating of all time, but it's also not bad at all.
Hey. This country was built on the 3.5.
It
was built on the back of the 3.5 rated movie.
A fucking man. But yeah,
good shit.
So yeah, actors and the movies that they wrote. I mean, like, it's like hard to beat movies like Rocky and Good Will Hunting, which I just rewatched again. God damn it, that movie's so fucking good.
Too bad. I'm not gonna make that joke. Never mind. I'll make that off pod. I love Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
It's like one of... We'll find some... We'll do a revisited month at some point.
If you don't like that movie, you're an asshole.
There it is. That one's going to make TikTok. Anyway, yeah, it's... actors tend to make pretty good writers. in some circumstances, not always.
Yeah.
I think actors make better. This is very funny. I think actors make better writers than they make note givers.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
I think actors sometimes get too focused on one thing when it comes to notes and lose the big picture. But when they sit down to write, they know what bad dialogue tastes like. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
they can tend to write a little bit better dialogue, and they can tend to write interesting situations for all the characters, not even just who they're playing.
People like Carrie Fisher that are like famous script doctors. You know what I mean? Like that. That's so funny. That's so interesting. Like it's like I also would imagine that actors probably make better writers than they do even directors.
Yeah.
You know?
There's been notable exceptions to that, but
clearly.
Still, yeah. Like there's a reason Glen Powell didn't direct Hitman. He's either not ready or doesn't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yet a phenomenal job at the keyboard. Like absolutely.
I would be fascinated to hear what their process was. If it was like, did they sit down and write together like the Coen brothers, or did they like split up scenes and then trade scenes to rewrite and then create a master document?
Yeah, I mean, because it's not story by and then written by. It is written by the two of them. With the ampersand and you know what I mean. Like they were a writing duo. So I would be fascinated to know that. Recommendations.
To do a Richard Linklater recommendation, I'll just the Before trilogy. These movies are excellent.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're just people talking. So like be ready for that. But it's incredible. You know what I mean? Like the setups of all of them are really good. There's this like sense of longing in them that is rare in cinema. Great movies. The Criterion is also having a sale, so you can get this for half off.
One of the movies that actually took off the list on my list was written by Julie Delpy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wrote a movie. I had just never heard of it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that one felt like even tougher than the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I didn't include it. But she actually wrote one too. Yeah, this was originally 15 items long, and I cut it because another one was like I hadn't heard of the actor or the movie.
Yeah,
so I was like, that one just feels unfair.
Other recommendation, another Richard Linklater one, Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
It's an older movie. It hasn't aged in some respects incredibly, but you know what?
At the same time, it's like it feels appropriate for the time that it's portraying.
I was going to say, watch it as if you were watching it in that time. Acknowledge the things that make you uncomfortable because we should do that, but also like watch that movie. It's quite good. I saw that one in a theater too. Alamo. God, I miss you. They're coming back though.
Coming back though, baby.
I saw that one in a theater. Very
Is it worth talking about that to have a short conversation about our feelings on the Sony purchase? And
why not? There's no reason not to.
It's like, Alamo. Have we talked about this on pod?
No, we haven't.
Has this happened in the time that?
No, in our interim times. I think we literally recorded an episode early.
Yeah,
it happened in between, and then we had a bigger gap in between recording. But
the private equity group that owns all of the Alamo Drafthouse in DFW and one in Minneapolis, they went bankrupt, and all of those Alamos closed as a consequence. And so there was,
closed suddenly. Also, it's like I had tickets for that night, and we found out about it.
And there was also a lot of confusion about if it was all of them, if it was just most of them. Like I saw conflicting reports about, and the fact that like if you went onto the app, all but the
Cedars and Los
and Las Colinas, both still had showings available.
Yeah,
like you could still buy tickets if you wanted. And so there was like reporting that was conflicting and stuff. Obviously, we were following this live because not only do we love Alamo, I have spoken very plainly about how much I love Alamo and don't like other chains.
Yeah,
but also like it just all happened so suddenly.
It happened suddenly, and I think if you're a cinema goer, Alamo has 39 locations.
Yeah,
it closed 6 day in one day.
Yeah,
that's not like an AMC or a Cinemark closing 6. That's like a blow to them.
That's
what I mean?
That is 20% of their.
Yeah, legitimately, I was like, oh, this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Like this is the beginning of the end of the theatrical experience because Alamo is the last bastion of a chain place really fighting for the theatrical experience.
Yeah. That puts the theatrical experience over basically everything else. Like they don't do, the pre-show isn't a bunch of shitty ads.
Yeah.
It's like it is all fun and related and like interesting relating to the movie. I mean, for the most part, sometimes like there are smaller movies or like one-offs where they don't have like a big pre-show. They have like a general fun.
But
it's not ads.
Exactly. You're not watching commercials. You're going into something that is at least tonally similar to what you're going to watch.
And look, if it means that they still exist, throwing an ad or two in between the other pre-show
okay with
shit.
that.
I can live with
I'm okay
that.
with it.
If that means that this theater is able to stay open. Okay, so they closed. They almost nothing from Alamo corporate for the first like couple of days. And then finally Alamo put out a press release saying like, we are working on reopening these. Like they're not going to stay closed. We will reopen them. It was a surprise to us too. Like
I had trouble canceling my subscription. I know you did day of.
I did day of.
I
so
waited a day
was,
or two, and then I was like, I went onto the app, couldn't do it. It's like I googled it, like you have to do it through the website. Went onto the website, which apparently you can do it on the app. But I went through to the website. I would click it and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
So I emailed them. I was like, hey, I can't cancel it. And they're like, look, we paused your subscription. We can't say anything. We're working on it right now. You will not be billed.
Oh, okay. The other thing that like actually pissed me off was Alamo is a sponsor or a part of or founded. I'm not exactly sure what the connection is. Fantastic Fest.
Yeah.
And they were doing a giveaway for Fantastic Fest for a trip to go see Fantastic Fest, which I don't know if it included like a hotel stay or anything like that. But in order to apply for the tickets or whatever, you had to put your home location. And this was like 2 or 3 days after.
Yeah.
Like, this was not very far after it happened, but Dallas-Fort Worth was not available.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. I was like, look, I've been a fan for years.
Yeah.
Like I have been like singing Alamo's praises. Literally the day of, I had like 5 people text me about it because I'm the Alamo guy.
I did too. Yeah. I had coworkers texting me like, are you okay? Literally, I was like, no, I'm not. I'm kind of really upset.
I like legitimately was like, I am trying my best not to jump off the roof of this building.
Yeah.
Like, literally I had multiple people come up and talk to me about it. And so it's like, it was really frustrating that it felt like, look, I still exist. Like I still went to the Alamo, so now I don't even get the opportunity to go to
the Texas-based film festival.
That was weird. I don't think that came down from like corporate or anything
no.
like that. That felt like a bad decision from.
It felt like they were scrambling to make things happen, and so whatever software patches or whatever they had to just throw up kind of fucked people over a little bit.
And so they put out that press release, and then like a week or two later, the announcement came out that Sony purchased Alamo.
Yeah.
Which is
the second company to own theater chains since it became legal again. Netflix was the first one.
But they only own one.
2.
They own 2.
They own one on both coasts.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, I didn't know that.
But it's not a chain. It's
not
just,
a chain. No.
It's just like the Egyptian owned by Netflix.
Yes.
And whatever their other one owned by Netflix.
And so this is the first like chain bought by a production company or bought by
a studio.
Bought by a studio since what, the 20s?
It's been like 75
or the 40s,
years, something like that. Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
It's it's a little bit of good and a little bit of bad.
A little bit good, a little bit bad. It made that rule made so much more sense when movies were the juggernaut of an industry that they just aren't anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I will also say that of all the studios to end up owning a theater, I'm kind of happy it's Sony. They don't have their own streaming service. And they have, in recent years, really pushed for movies to be in theaters.
Yeah.
Like, if one of them had to do it first, and it had to be through my beloved Alamo Drafthouse, at least it's the one that is actually kind of prioritizing going to the movies. Like, I'll give it that much.
Yeah,
like, I'm trying to be positive about it. I hope it's good. And hopefully this is a mutually beneficial thing. The CEO of Alamo is staying on. There's not a mix-up there. Like,
so, I guess, like, what I hope comes of this is not much changes for Alamo. That's like what I want is like, I just don't want all that much to change for Alamo. Like I understand that like, there will be changes, but hopefully this means they'll still be able to show old movies from studios that aren't owned by Sony, that aren't just like Columbia or, you know what I mean? Like Sony Pictures Classic. Like I would love for those to still be a thing. And then I would love for the ability for the pre-show and that part of the experience not to change a ton. I understand that there's going to be some corporate pressure. I understand that like the pre-show stuff probably will change a little bit, but like as long as it isn't what AMC and Cinemark are doing, which is like there's nothing about movies before the movie starts. It is only ads.
Yeah, like look, what I predict will happen is the season pass will get a little more expensive.
Really?
I think so. Which I think I'm fine with.
I don't know, actually.
Not too much more expensive. Like, I think $5 more expensive a month.
I legitimately, if you ask me, I think it will get cheaper. Because I don't think that many people use it.
I also just found out about this, that there's a bunch of different tiers depending on where you live and things.
That's true.
Which I didn't know. Yeah. I had whatever the basic one for Dallas was.
Yeah. It is different in different locations.
Their thing is confusing. They're different. Yeah. I think
because it's owned by different people, because it's franchised out. I think that's up to the franchisees.
Yes. So I think it will be a little more expensive, but I think they'll bring back victory rewards. Like actually bring them back, because they said they were gonna give everybody a bunch of free stuff, and then you never actually accrued rewards.
Yeah.
I think that'll come back. I think we will get an ad or two before movies,
which I'm okay with an ad or two.
It's okay as long as it's not in between trailers.
Yes.
I'm fine with it, because every other chain does that now. It's so annoying. It's like, just play me 15 minutes of trailers, start my movie.
Yeah.
It's like, just do whatever you got to do before. And I desperately hope they don't take away the you can report people. And if that goes, it's useless. Then Alamo coming back is useless.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully those are like table stakes from the CEO saying like, this is what makes Alamo Alamo.
This is literally our brand. Like,
yeah, like look, you change up the menu. I couldn't fucking care less. Like,
yeah,
it's like, look, the food is fine. It's super overpriced.
Yeah,
like change up the menu. Do what you have to do there. I don't care. But just like if the experience doesn't change fundamentally, which is like the focus on interesting programming, as well as like the experience of like, if you're going to see this movie, you're going to shut up or you're going to get kicked out. And like the pre-show staying in some form or fashion. Like those three things I think are fundamental to what Alamo is. Everything else you can change.
And in terms of positive things that could happen,
I
think the biggest one that pops to mind for me is, right, like if they are able to maintain relationships with other studios to license out movies.
It's not like Sony doesn't have a past of making deals with other studios.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what I'm hoping is that maintains, but now your costs are cheaper because you can just get the Sony stuff for way cheaper.
Yes.
Because it's not free. It's not like Sony has a bad back catalog. You know what I mean? Of Sony's net of ownership. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that's also something that considers like just new Sony movies.
Yeah.
The new Spider-Man. Alamo does not have to pay a single fucking penny to show those.
And if for whatever, I don't know exactly how their structure works, or if there's laws saying even if you own a company, you can't. I don't know how all that works with distribution, because distribution's a fuzzy thing, especially now that with this change.
Yeah.
If they do, it's going to be the fucking deal of a lifetime for them. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
it'll cut cost in that way for big fucking movies like Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
Because we forget Spider-Man and Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, there's a co-deal for all the Tom Holland stuff on top of Venom, on top of the next Spider-Verse movie, on top of all the other stuff they're doing.
So I think there's a lot of positivity to feel here. And I think another thing that is so worth mentioning is about a bunch of people are going to get their jobs back.
That is the most important one. And Alamo came out in their release saying, it's like, we're paying these people. They lost their jobs suddenly for a reason that was kind of out of our corporate control. Yeah. So I don't know what that looks like. And I'm sure a lot of these people have already found new jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not everyone's coming back, but they're going to them first.
The opportunities
based
will be,
on their,
They will have that opportunity.
And they're also going out of their way to, like, if you had tickets in your queue, you're getting vouchers.
Sick.
You're going to get free food stuff. And you get a month of
season pass
for free.
Yeah. So
it's like they're going out of their way to also go, hey, we want you to come back. Please come back. We Alamo's going to be Alamo.
How expensive is A-List and whatever Cinemark's thing? Do you know?
Cinemark doesn't have a thing. Cinemark.
Do they not?
They have a rewards program, and you get one free ticket a month, which is for now. At the time when that came out, it was the same price as a regular. You essentially just pay the subscription, get one ticket, but the ticket would roll over. So if you wait a month, you can use whatever. But they don't have like
They don't have an A-List. They don't have a season pass.
Now A-List, I believe, is the same price as Alamo roughly. It's
fascinating.
within the same margin.
Because it used to, or there's like tiers, right?
No. Well, there are tiers, but they're not based on the like overall function. Even at the highest tier, you get 3 movies a week, any format. At the lowest tier, you get 3 movies a week, any format.
Fascinating. Okay.
The highest tier, you accrue points more. You get certain discounts and stuff.
Because I always thought the A-list was cheaper. Like, because I thought season pass was expensive.
Season pass is $20 a month.
Yeah.
I think I'll ask Ethan.
I mean, like, we could also just open up our laptop and look it up. But
I don't want to.
yeah, fuck that. We're conjecture only.
Yeah. I think it's $20 to $30 a month for that.
Yeah.
But the benefit of it is that you get discounts on food.
Yeah.
And you get any format. So if you want to go to IMAX, but the problem in this area, at least I don't know how AMCs are other places, but in this area, oh dude, I'd rather die than go to an AMC. Like,
dude, I have spoken very plainly about my distaste for AMC.
Best experience I had was going to see Bike Riders recently because Breck and I are like, we have to find a new theater. We might as well go scope out the times at AMC to see when we can actually go see shit.
Yeah.
And that was at least a fine experience. But I mean, I talked about it on the podcast. I yelled at somebody at Dune because they wouldn't shut up.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's every time. When we saw Avatar, it was that way. When Breck and I saw the Dune re-release, it was okay, but there was still a little chit-chat.
Yeah.
AMC and Cinemark are awful, at least in our area.
There are some Cinemark. There, honestly, I've had better experience at Cinemark, so I didn't like. I have not, because if I can help it, I'm never going to an AMC again.
Two worst audience experiences I've ever had, were Smile and In a Violent Nature.
Yeah.
Both at the same Cinemark, and I like straight up.
This one up here.
Yep.
Oh damn! I haven't had that bad of experience there.
But I've had fine experiences there too. When I went and saw the new Bad Boys, which is pretty good. I had a great theater experience. Not many people in theater, but when I went and saw In a Violent Nature, actually shockingly similar experiences for those two movies. Teenagers sitting next to us wouldn't shut up. Were burping, kicking their shoes off, talking at this volume the whole time. When I went and saw Smile, the dude next to me had apparently never seen anything scary in his entire life because he was having a panic attack, I think. Not that bad, but he literally kicked his shoes up, threw his wrappers on the ground, talked to the level, and people behind us were making TikToks on their phones.
Jesus Christ.
At full I literally, it kind of, I bought Smile because I'm like, I want to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I can't actually tell you if I like that movie or not.
Yeah.
Both at that Cinemark. Yeah. But then other times I've had great experiences at that Cinemark. So I don't know. Yeah,
I think the thing that I do at if I'm going to a Cinemark or an AMC, I'm not going at night. I'm not going on a Friday. I'm going on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's like that. I think that is why I've had better experiences. Like if I'm going to go, I have to go see a movie there, I'm going to go see it at a
when
time
I go at
off
times, I have a better experience.
Yeah.
Which is
sad,
but it's hard. You know, it's not always easy to find showtimes.
Yeah.
It's like I'll go to the movies every weeknight if I can. You know what I mean? But it's not always easy to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so Alamo's coming back. They put out a release that like
very
later this
excited.
Summer that they're coming back.
Very excited.
I was hoping it would be that fast,
and I was convinced it wouldn't be because I was like, look, if they're not making enough money to justify keeping them open, how is the market going to change for them to bring back so quick? But it's seeming more now with all this new information that it was the company itself went fully bankrupt.
That's what I was about to say.
Outside of Alamo also.
I'd be fascinated to know what other properties they owned.
Exactly.
If it's just Alamo, okay, that's foreboding. If I have to imagine they own other things.
Yes.
If not the entirety of that private equity group, pieces of it.
Yeah.
I think that was not just Alamo that caused
that. And it's now looking more and more like that is the case.
Yeah.
So hopefully they come back strong because Alamo packed most times I would go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even kind of weird off times there'd be 10 or 15 people.
Man. They were busy.
Yeah.
I can count on one hand how many times I went and saw a movie that had less than 5 people.
Yeah,
that had
dude, I've been to that Alamo twice and I was the only person in the theater, but both were very weird times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And very not popular movies or movies late in their run. You know what I mean? It's like that was kind of how it was. But anyway.
So yeah.
Movies.
My recommendation.
Yes. Yeah. Now we're here.
To talk about sexy movies or sexy content, sexy shows. I watched Bridgerton season 3. Pretty good. I don't have that strong of opinion. Season 2, I still think is the best season.
Yeah.
Except for Queen Charlotte. Holy fuck, that show is so much better than the rest of Bridgerton. And don't get me wrong, I like Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I like Bridgerton way more than I thought I would. And Queen Charlotte is legitimately really good, if not great. Like,
fantastic.
I can't. The problem is, I think it is a little too connected to the other seasons of Bridgerton, because that, like, it shows Queen Charlotte in the past and Queen Charlotte in the present as where it is in the timeline of the Bridgerton show. And I feel like that does it a little bit of a disservice, because I would recommend just go watch Queen Charlotte right now, but you kind of have to watch it. Yeah. You kind of have to have watched season 1 and 2. That being said, season 1 is pretty good. Season 2 is really good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, honestly, like, you could go watch season 1, season 2, and Queen Charlotte, and you'd go pretty good, really good, legitimately kind of great. So, like, it is weird how much better it is.
Yeah.
Because it's not based off of the books. Like,
Yeah.
it's just completely new in terms of, like, the stuff written by Quinn, or whatever her name, Julia Quinn, whatever. It's like fully fabricated for the Netflix series. And it, like, looks way better.
Yeah.
Even though it's DP'd by the same guy.
And maybe the directing team was more willing to go.
It's definitely shot on different lenses, and they definitely, like, just put a different emphasis on stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks good as compared to the rest of Bridgerton, which I think looks fine. Like, the rest of Bridgerton feels like CW show plus.
Yeah.
Where Bridgerton feels like an HBO series.
Okay.
Or like a movie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, I can't recommend Queen Charlotte enough. I'm not all the way through it, so, like, I'm most of the way through it at this point, but I really, really, really like it. I can't believe I like it as much as I do. It's, like, really well written. Like, there's some lines and some monologues and some stuff where it's like, holy shit, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is. I really highly, highly recommend. The casting is phenomenal, like, across the board. Like, the people that they have playing the, like, younger characters that are in the Bridgerton show are all, like, perfectly cast. Like, yeah, Queen Charlotte, like, really good. Highly recommend.
There we go.
Sexy as shit. Like, God, yeah. That when me and Megan were talking about, like, what are we? We are talking about the chemistry between Queen Charlotte and King George. Holy shit, the chemistry is phenomenal in that show. Yeah, can't recommend it enough.
Good shit. Well, now you got a bunch of stuff to watch.
Got like 3 seasons of shows to watch.
3 seasons of shows to watch, a trilogy of movies, and another movie, and then Hitman multiple times, plus all the other things we discussed.
And then Twisters when it comes out.
And Twisters! Dude, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
But yeah, you should all go do that. Or, I don't know. Live your life.